Hi, I'm Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of today's newsletter is going to be how to get over a breakup and attract a better quality partner. Well, I've got an email success story from a guy who originally found my work after getting divorced from a 15-year marriage. And he says a big part of the reason why his marriage ended was because he had addiction issues and some other problems that basically led to his divorce. So he said he couch surfed for a while after that. Took him a while he didn't really have any purpose or direction in life. And so that was something that he says my book really helped him get focused on. And so he shares how he met his new girl and how things changed in all areas of his life once he started reading and implementing this sweet blue book with a picture of yours truly on it. So let's go through his email and see what he did to turn his life around. And hopefully it'll inspire, because there's always other people that are coming to me for the first time. This may be the first video that they watch. So hopefully this inspires you to take action and learn and do what he did. So he says, Coach, thank you so much for sharing what you've learned the hard way so we chumps don't have to make the same mistakes. I was introduced to your work about a year ago and have since either read your book or listened to the audiobook over a dozen times and constantly refer to it. Well, that's typically the actions of somebody that's serious about getting better and reaching their full potential. The important thing is you got to put in the work, got to put in the time, you got to learn the material. Can't half-ass it, flip through the book once or twice and think your life's going to radically change. You got to learn the book, but most importantly, you got to actually apply it to see how it works in the real world and get really good and competent at it. He says, I've got highlights and notes throughout my printed copy and such valuable information, not just for dating and relationships, but for life. How to be a better man, the mindset to strive to be better, just a bit more each day. Thank you. So now to my success story. He says, I'm 42 and had been married for 15 years. My ex-wife asked me to move out about 2 years ago and for a divorce 6 months after that. A lot of it had to do with my struggles with addiction and its accompanying shame-filled view of self and how it had become the focus of our relationship instead of us being a partnership. So in other words, he wasn't pulling his own weight. It wasn't really a team of equals, because obviously he was not holding up his end of the bargain. He says, my purpose was non-existent at the time. I admittedly was a little bitch and don't blame her for wanting to distance herself from me. So that takes some radical personal honesty. So I appreciate that. Because you can't solve problems unless you can talk openly and honestly about them. And in this case, you can't overcome your flaws and your faults unless you're willing to acknowledge it. Crying about women and their true nature and all this other nonsense is just what weak guys do to absolve themselves from any personal responsibility for having to fix their life. It's much easier to point the finger and say, wow, the problem is just all modern women. So I don't have any problems and I got nothing to fix because I'm just awesome. Gratefully, I took this divorce as a wake-up call and got hard at work on myself and recovery. Fast forward after a year of couch surfing at the mercy of my friends, working through my shit, I'm now living in my own place and my life is starting to get back to normal. I decided to start dating again. I get on the apps and I have some moderate success matching with women. I've gone on probably a couple dozen first dates and a handful of second dates in the past year. As you suggested in the book, I took the time to write down what I wanted in an ideal partner. Pros and cons, green and red flags. You tell a story of your London girlfriend and how you showed each other your lists and how you matched each other's ideals and how good of a bonding experience that was. That's such a good suggestion. I really wanted that kind of experience too. None of those girls I dated worked out long term. That's just what I want and chose. Some said no to me, but some I said no to, continuing to see. I know who I am and what I want, and most of all, I want someone who really wants me for me. It's totally the right mindset. Good job. You tell us to put who you are out in the dating world and accept whatever comes back. Acceptance is the key to all of life's problems, says the Blue Book. Well, I've recently met and been seeing a woman that really wants me for me and checks off every single one of my ideals. First date, we were all over each other, and she had a 7 to 8 level of attraction on a scale of 1 to 10, as discussed in your book. The first kiss happens only 30 minutes after the start of the date. Well, obviously she liked you. We're finishing each other's sentences, type of stuff, just an unbelievable connection. It's worth being patient and knowing what you really want in a partner. Manifesting this ideal into the world attracts them to you. Well, you got to become what you want to attract. That's the important thing. He says, love is supposed to be playful and fun, and you can't make attraction happen. Don't waste your time on someone that's not a hell yes. Absolutely. That's a big problem with guys in society because, quite frankly, we see it in movies and TV shows all the time. Guy has interest in a girl has no interest in him at all whatsoever, but yet he does all these ridiculous things, these grand gesture dates, jumping through his butt, trying to get her attention and validation. And of course, in the world of make-believe, at the end of the movie, the girl goes, oh, I should have had a V8. No, she says, oh, it's the right guy was in my life all along. I'm so blessed and lucky. And they live happily ever after. It doesn't work that way in the real world. You behave that way in the real world, you get a restraining order on your ass. He says, all of those things I learned from your stuff, and I'm seeing it play out in real life. It really works. So grateful for your coaching. Keep up the good work. Well, like I always say, even if you think I'm full of shit, if you apply what's in this book, it will work for you, and you will get better results than you are used to. I mean, here's a guy that basically hit rock bottom, had addiction issues. His wife left him, and he completely turned his life around and met somebody and had a magical connection because he was ready for it. He did the work ahead of time. There's no shortcuts to success. He did the work. He put in the time. He learned what was in the book, but most importantly, he applied it and saw that it worked in the real world. And then when he met somebody that he really clicked with, he was prepared. Because as Confucius said, success depends upon prior preparation, and without said preparation, there is sure to be failure. So if you got a question or a challenge and you would like to get my help, go to understandingrelationships.com, click the products tab at the top of your screen on any page, and book a coaching session with yours truly. Until next time, I will talk to you soon.